Hello, all you lovely people. I came in from a walk and I decided to share this anecdote. Um, I don't know if you can see this title of the book. Maybe you see it on a mirrored way. It says, "Don't take it personally." And I bought this book because of the title. I never actually read it. It's for parents who have teenagers to remind them that whatever the teenager is going through is not. Um, it has nothing to do with them. It's just a change in the teenager, in their hormonal level and all that, and they have a huge adjustment in their life. So whatever outburst there is, it's not really about you being a bad parent. It's simply that the teenager is going through a challenging time and expressing it that way. Why am I sharing this? Because they say narcissism is a child who has not developed, basically, because narcissism is a stage of childhood where the child is supposed to make everything about them and think that everything, the world revolves around them. But some children have trauma of maybe emotional neglect, maybe different kinds of trauma that stunts their growth, and they stay in that level of their childhood. So they're basically a child in a grown-up body. And there is, I think, also inverted narcissism, which means like you're not really behaving like a narcissist, but there is this feeling of people pleasing that was ingrained in you in a way where you didn't have a chance to realize that it's not all about you. Like if people are mad at you, doesn't mean that it's your fault. If things go bad in your life, doesn't mean that you did something wrong to deserve it. And some people are basically raised with that message hammered into them that you always deserve what happens to you and you must have done something very horrible to deserve bad things to happen to you. That's basically child abuse. But what I want to point out here is when somebody is mad at you in a relationship, most of the time it has nothing to do with you. Yes, your action might have triggered the response, but it's not about what you did. It's about what it means to them. It triggered something of their own experience, of their own history, that makes it in their mind mean something. I'll give you an example. If my husband was raised in, let's say, a messy household, and then he comes into the kitchen, he eats breakfast, and he leaves the stuff on the table. If I get mad because the meaning I make in my mind is that he doesn't care, it has nothing to do with him. Yes, he left the stuff out, but he didn't do it because he didn't care. It's just because his mind has been used to that way of living if this is the way he was raised. And for me to decide that he doesn't care makes me extremely mad, right? Because I feel like I deserve for him to care and to think about how it affects me to have a messy house. So you see how my mind is playing up his actions in a new reframe that has nothing to do with him. It has to do with an experience that I had in my childhood where I felt that I wasn't considered, that nobody cared how I felt about it, and it didn't matter to people. So when I'm angry and I think that he's actually the cause of my anger, this is something that can really hurt the relationship because it reframes things in a false way. And at the same time, the opposite is true as well. When we are on the receiving end of anger and we think that it's all about us and we don't realize that it's actually a history that this person has that makes them be triggered in that way, and it has most likely nothing to do with you. I'm not obviously talking when you deliberately set out to hurt someone. I'm talking about good-hearted people who want to have a good relationship with someone and they get stuck in these loopholes where the person is mad at something that feels to you disproportionate, that doesn't make sense to you. So we can all be more compassionate with ourselves and with the people we live with, because we all have wounds from our childhood, and having more understanding like to separate, like to not have this invert narcissism, to separate the actions of the person from the person themselves, to not think that the actions done to me are what I necessarily deserve or what I necessarily invited, or I created something that I should be blamed for, you know? So I hope this helps.